Having survived a personal scandal, Hitler's determination to lead his party to power has never been stronger. His propaganda machine relaunches him, and it seems to work. Hitler performs brilliantly when he stands as a candidate in the presidential elections against Germany's existing president, the much-respected Field Marshal Paul von Hindenburg. He runs him a close second. In just 9 years, Hitler's gone from prison inmate to serious contender for the leadership of Germany. And he comes up with yet another new tactic to help him win people over. He produces a series of postcards and coffee table books together with Nazi photographer Heinrich Hoffmann. Their purpose is to portray Hitler as a normal man.
Hoffmann's images weren't just formal shots of Hitler standing on a podium lecturing to regimented masses. Much more frequent were pictures that showed Hitler as an ordinary man. Hitler in Bavarian folklore outfit, sitting in the woods, having a picnic. Hitler playing with the dog. Hitler wearing a raincoat, an ordinary shirt and a battered hat, doing not very much at all. It was very calculated. He wanted to be seen as someone who paused, who enjoyed the leisure to think and to reflect. Really a man of the people.
After the presidential elections, Hitler sets out to build on his growing popularity. He gets the chance because the governing coalition is terminally unstable, triggering a spate of elections.
In 1932, it seemed that the German people were involved in a permanent election campaign. There were so many elections, national and local, and this is a clear sign that no party could rule in the Reichstag, that democracy had run into the sand and that it did not provide stability.
2 elections in July and November of 1932 see the Nazis virtually double their support from 1930. They are now the biggest party in the Reichstag. It's not enough to take power, but it is enough to paralyze the government. Hitler piles the pressure on the ailing President Hindenburg and demands to be made Chancellor, Germany's equivalent of Prime Minister. But Hindenburg doesn't trust him, and he flatly refuses. Hindenburg only offers him the position of Vice-Chancellor. Hitler turns it down. He wants power on his own terms. So he sets about wooing Germany's most influential people.
He brings together a whole group of industrialists. He said to them, you have only prosperity to look forward to under us. We are not a threat. If we join together, I as a great political leader and you as great industrialists, we have a great future together. We can work together. He meets the army leaders and says to them, I was a soldier, I understand you. The army is critical in the new Germany that we're going to create. You are the strength, you are the defense of Germany. And he wins them over.
Hitler's quest to broaden his appeal is successful. The Nazis are no longer just the choice of the working classes. White-collar voters like teachers, engineers and lawyers are turning to Hitler, fearful that a communist government will tax them to feed the poor.
It's what some call the Mittelstand in German, that middle section, the section that matters, Hitler said. Respectable people. Old Germans, if you like, in that sense. Young in age, but old in terms of their reference back to German values, German cultural standards and so on.
Someone else Hitler manages to impress is former Chancellor Franz von Papen. He's dismissed from power in November 1932, following a vote of no confidence. Though not a Nazi, he is sympathetic to Hitler and organizes a secret meeting between key members of Hitler's inner circle and the president's son, German Army Major Oskar von Hindenburg.
This is a really important meeting because at that meeting, Oskar, who's been skeptical about whether Hitler will rule without becoming a dictator, he starts to get convinced by Hitler. Hitler charms him.
In return for promotion in the army and 5,000 acres of land, Oskar agrees to convince his father to hand the chancellorship to Hitler. Crucially, von Papen reassures both President Hindenburg and his son that he can keep Hitler under control. Within a week, the president concedes. Hitler is appointed Chancellor of Germany. But the Nazis still don't have a majority government. So, Hitler quickly calls another election. To guarantee a majority, he needs to win over the left-leaning voters and overcome the communists. Within days, events conspire to help him. Just 6 days before the general election, Germany's parliament building, the Reichstag, is set on fire.
The culprit is swiftly arrested, and it emerges he's a young Dutch man called Marinus van der Lubbe.
Van der Lubbe is a known communist.
He is the classic lone nut, if you like, the kind of Lee Harvey Oswald of this situation, where we don't know whether he acted alone. All we know is that once the fire was underway, nobody was going to try and put it out, because straight away the Nazis could see that this fire could be exploited against the communists.
President Hindenburg's response to the fire is to declare a state of emergency across Germany. Hitler takes advantage. He manages to convince Hindenburg to let him suppress the communists. As Chancellor, Hitler can send in the state police alongside the SA Brownshirts and the SS.
The SA and the SS are let loose with public backing, because most of the public think this is a communist plot. The burning of the Reichstag, this great symbol of German constitutionalism, has been attacked by the communists.
4,000 communist politicians and their supporters are beaten up, imprisoned and murdered, destroying them as a political force. But even that isn't enough to win Hitler power. In the general election of March 1933, the Nazis take just under 44% of the vote, agonizingly short of an overall majority. So Hitler decides to find a way around the democratic process. What he comes up with is the Enabling Act. In a time of crisis, it allows him to temporarily suspend the constitution and to take total control in Germany for the next 4 years.
If it's voted in favour by an absolute majority, that will allow Hitler to transfer power to himself so that he can enact law without the need to use Parliament.
But to pass the act, the Nazis need a 2/3 majority in Parliament. Hitler now starts schmoozing the key German Catholic Centre Party within the coalition. He reassures them that their party will continue to exist, that the Church's civil liberties will be preserved, as will Catholic involvement with German culture and education. Hitler sets out his case for the Enabling Act in a speech to Parliament. He promises to end unemployment and pledges to promote peace with France, Britain and Russia. When the by now sick and weakening President Hindenburg accepts the act, the Reichstag are invited to vote on it. All of Hitler's hard work finally pays off. With a massive 441 to 94, the Nazis gain the 2/3 majority they need to pass the Enabling Act. Ironically, the democratic process has handed Hitler the power to do anything he wants, without parliamentary approval.
It gives Hitler basically dictatorial powers, powers that no leader in Germany has had for a very long time.
Hitler has at last got the authority he has craved for so long. Soon, he will reveal himself for what he really is.